What's up with it? My name is Megan Jeanette, but you can call me Meg.
And this your boy Greg. What's happening?
I can kill a cactus.
She not lying. And I allow the Houston Texans to determine my mood for the next 6 months. And so far, I've been depressed.
And welcome back to Get It Together.
What's happening?
If this is your very first time joining us, welcome. We're the show that explores what it means to grow and work together in your relationships, finances, faith, and fun.
Yes.
Hello.
What's happening?
How are you feeling today?
I'm tired. I just got work.
You're
I just came
not
straight
supposed to
from
say this to
work.
people, but you look tired. So.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I don't care.
But
I
he's
look
a
tired.
trooper. He's here with us.
Yeah, I'm about to fall asleep on y'all.
So today is a very, very special day.
Yes, it is.
We have an amazing guest. So I have known her for maybe about close to 28, 29 years. Yeah,
That's a long time.
it is.
That's like prison years.
I know. It's been a very long relationship. You've
Yes.
known her for maybe going on five,
About
6
6
years.
years,
Yes. And I mean, for me, I'm honestly at first, I didn't like this girl, maybe for 16 out of those 29 years. And I think as time went on and you grow and mature, you just start to, I guess, get to know a person.
I guess.
I get better, they get better, and through the fussing and the fighting, a little bit of bullying that was there, we became friends.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, we were cool because of the common interest of us both not liking you, so
that's
yeah, better.
That's really awesome.
Because we definitely talked about you behind your back and in front of you.
Wow. Well, without further ado, I want to introduce to you IFBB Pro Santana Francisco, my sister.
Hey, how you guys doing? My name is Santana Francisco, as you know, as she's introduced, and I am Megan's sister, and Greg is my brother-in-law.
Yes.
So I am excited to be here today with you guys and to talk about my journey, and we're just gonna have a good little candid conversation.
Absolutely, yes. So, Santana has had an amazing journey throughout life, and really it's been very inspiring to me, being a little sister, to see somebody that you love go through hard times, and times that probably looking back on it probably felt like you weren't going to get past it.
Yes.
But to be at where she's at now is truly amazing, and we just want to take you guys on that journey because
Yes.
I think it's really helpful to see someone who has probably gone through everything
Yes.
and to come out on the other side and getting everything in life together to become successful. And so that's kind of like what we're here to do.
Hey, red pill alert for all my red pill men out there. There's two strong black women about to have a strong conversation. So I'm just letting you guys know you might want to get away from this, conspiracy.
Yes. So Santana, tell us a little bit about, kind of like where you really started in your college journey and what led you up to, where you are now.
Okay, so I went to Langston University on an academic scholarship and a basketball scholarship back in 2010. So I was pretty much getting paid to go to school, so I was living the life at that time. I went to Langston. I was scared, didn't really know much. Langston is a HBCU, so we growing up in the colony.
Yeah.
It was a predominantly white area. So now I'm going around all the black people that I'd never really been around before. So it was a culture shock.
Yeah.
It was a culture shock.
Same.
So going to college, that's when I can honestly say I found myself. But I also found a group of friends that, I love to this day, but I had to navigate.
I can't. We got to do this.
I'm
Yeah.
about to do it again.
Yeah.
Is that?
Hey, I get it
Yeah.
together, crew. No,
Oh gosh, it was a lot.
Yeah, I know. I was like, we couldn't go through
Okay,
the
so-
sister world.
Hey, that's what
it's
you
fine.
do.
We just get some lipstick off the teeth. Y'all know.
All right, yeah, we had to get lipstick off the teeth,
Okay,
so
there we
we're good.
go.
Okay,
Now
we
we're
good.
good.
Okay.
Straight.
Back on it. Beautiful.
But okay, back to what I was doing.
Yeah.
But I was playing basketball, and eventually I got to a crossroads where I had to choose. I became a Delta while I was at school. Did a lot of things, and long story short, I was out there and I got to partying. And, I realized that, I was very smart and I got to partying and drinking and I'll be honest, smoking, all of it. And, I was smart with it too. So, I was drinking and partying. I was the type where I could drink and smoke the night before and then go take a test and make an A. So
oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, being the little sister, somebody who like never really had to study for anything was pretty hard, which is why I became, I think, an overachiever because I never have had that. I can never just not really be as extremely focused and not study and then just go and ace a test because I don't guess well. So
well, but I always envied you because of your study habits. Like, you're very on it. Like Megan is the point, we're gonna study today and we're gonna study for 8 hours today. And she's gonna do that 8 hours and she's not gonna like fret, nothing's gonna stop her. Whereas me, I'm like, well, shoot, I got about 30 minutes before this test. Let's go look through this book real quick.
As I sit here with both of them.
But, with that being said, that came back to haunt and bite me in the end when I got to nursing school, and you really have to study.
yeah.
You have to be able to apply what you're reading. You're not just memorizing. And that's where that came in to where I was going to say, like, 1 year after that, partying, drinking, smoking, doing all that stuff, thinking that's going to translate to nursing school and be successful. Oh, no, it was not. I had to sit out a year of nursing school. I got put out of nursing school, academic probation, because all of that caught up with me.
Yeah.
So that kind of led into, me going, I had to, sit out of nursing school. I had to change my major to health administration at that time, and that was very traumatic.
Yeah, I was going to say, so I remember that time whenever you had to sit out of nursing school. What do you feel like you were feeling as far as mentally at that point in time?
Mentally,
thinking about like family,
Yes.
because we come from two like very
Yes.
strong, high achieving.
Yes.
parents
So
and family.
I'm the oldest, so I feel like a failure. Megan and I were at school at the same time. So, when I was gonna be a 5th year senior already.
Yeah.
So once I did that, that made me a 6th year senior.
Yes.
That is not, that wasn't cute. So mentally, I felt depressed. I isolated pretty much that whole semester kind of in my room because I didn't know what I was going to do. And at that time, that's why I say God orders your steps, because at that time, I was working with the dean of nursing to build my thesis because we had to write a thesis to graduate. And, the day that I had to sit out of nursing school and tell her, like, hey, I don't think I'm going to be able to continue because of this, she was disappointed, but, she continued to work with me with my thesis. And that's how she got to know me. And then one day I'll go in her office and she's like, hey, you wanna try nursing school again? And I was like, you gonna let me? so I said, yes, let's do it. Let's go for it. So from then on, God worked his magic and I was able to get back in school. And I know you remember that. So
Yeah.
It was a blessing. So that was a pick me up.
Yeah.
But then fast forward to the next year, 3 days before graduation, I had a final exam and I failed it.
Yeah.
And that's when all our family was supposed to be coming to see
Yeah.
us. And
Yeah. So, because we were supposed to. I don't think. Do you even know this? Like.
I think you told me,
Okay.
but I can't. You probably told me, and I probably forgot.
Oh yeah. Well, so we were supposed to graduate together.
Oh,
And-
yeah, you told me that. Yes.
Okay.
I know that part.
And then, kind of in a way, nobody really knew that you didn't graduate.
nobody knew. Because
Everyone still thought that we
everybody,
graduated together.
and two, it was kind of like crazy because, you and our names were all over that program. Like, it was
Yeah.
kind of, for me, that's why it was very embarrassing. Like, I chose to continue to walk because I wanted to save face for my family, for
Yeah.
nursing. Because, I was the president of the School of Nursing
Yeah.
Association. I was a Student Nurse Association president. I was
And stuff in Delta.
I was running stuff in Delta. I had multiple positions on campus at that time. I'm not trying to say nothing, but baby, I was a big deal.
Yeah.
And to say that a big deal, and I didn't fail my final exam
Yeah.
3 days before, and my dean, she was not messing with me because she just let me come back. So she was like, no, you're not going to be able to come back. You're not graduating. You're not going to be able to come back and retake the test.
Yeah.
And my whole heart dropped. You remember I came to the
I remember
apartment
you
and
were-
told you.
Yeah.
I broke down and cried on
You
the
were
steps
crying.
together.
Yeah.
And
Man, that was a hard time. Even just for me to just, see the person that you love going through. So, I go through this with you now. It's like,
Yeah, no, she don't.
yes, I do.
It's nothing but
No.
strong, manly feelings over here. I don't know what she's talking about.
It's just like,
We telling my business.
it's just,
No, I feel that.
yeah, because I mean, just like seeing the person that you love, like this is my sister. I've seen like how hard that you've worked and gotten over hurdles. So the first hurdle of getting kicked out, and then getting back in and being successful, and then me at this point in time, like you helped me cross into Delta land, and so that was like a beautiful moment for us. And so it was really at the point that our parents. I feel like our parents were just like so proud of what we were doing and progressing in life, and that's kind of like what always our dad would just say, you know, as long as you're progressing, they're always gonna be there for us, but like just continue progressing, doing the right thing.
Right.
And for it to have come down to an exam being the reason why you didn't walk, and it's kind of looking at that, it's like, okay, that seems like it's not fair. But I mean, like in reality, it's fair because you were already like had another chance to get in there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like how you said, like God gives you chances and stuff at the one after the other. But you know, if you're not capitalizing on them, I feel like who do you blame at that point? in time?
You couldn't. I couldn't blame anyone but myself at that time because honestly, like I did not study like I needed to for that exam. I did not. And, you know, I thought it was going to come easy. I thought, you know, hey, we're at the finish line. Let me just go ahead and take this. I'll be all right. All I need to do is get a 70.
Yeah.
Didn't get the 70.
70s.
So, you know, it's just life experiences. And then, you know, I had to make that decision. I had to call mom and dad and tell them, like, I failed.
How was that?
Ooh, Lord.
Oh my gosh.
It was like, I can't even really, I like blacked out that day. It's just crazy because I remember calling mom and hearing mom's voice on the phone and she just sounded like she's about to cry. Like
I know, I was like, she probably cried.
break down and cry. Like, I just can't even, I just felt like, you know, that whole time, like my heart, like it just dropped. I felt like I was nauseous, like I wanted to throw up that whole time. And I still made that decision to walk that day. And that's the day you won President's Cup. And I'm sitting up there crying. People
Highest award at the university.
Yes, highest award at the university.
Highest
Yes.
achievement award.
Can't
The
let-
whole university.
She can't let her compliments ride. Like
All the schools.
she's always got
So just let you know.
So yeah, so my sister, and that's what's crazy too. Like you're on this high moment, and I'm on this real low moment.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know, I'm supposed to be a role model for you, and I was not at that time being a role model for anyone. So it was really heartbreaking, and that's when I started. And I've had little bouts with suicidal thoughts and stuff before when I was younger. But then when this happened,
I didn't know that.
No, yes. When I was younger, I used to write notes to mom about wanting to hurt myself on the bus, and
I feel that.
because kids used to pick on me in middle school and all that kind of stuff. Like I was a real loner, and that's why I said when I went to college, that's when I finally had friends. Because in middle school, elementary school, I didn't really have no friends. I was a loner. You know that. You used to always make fun of me about having no friends.
I did.
Who was the bully in this
Exactly,
relationship?
that's what I'm saying. She was the bully at first, okay?
You are a mental bully. I'm glad you, beat her.
friends.
Glad
She
you
was
beat
good
her up
for
on
that. She was good for it.
She was bullying me at home. I had to bully her in the streets.
But so that's when, like, you know, it came back forward to like, what's the point of living? I done let everybody down. I'm not a good role model for my brother or sister. My family's here cheering me on. That day when I got off, I still walked, and I got off that stage and I saw mom, and we just embraced, and we were both crying. People probably thinking they're crying because it's a happy moment.
I know.
Crying because I didn't fail again. I got to do something better with this lipstick. It's driving me crazy.
Just, you know, every 2 sentences, just lick
All
your
right,
teeth.
yeah.
You're good.
I want my lips to be so juicy for y'all, and it's just
She said, I'm coming in with the
I'm
red.
coming in,
They're gonna
but
see
you know,
these
it's
flips.
messing up. But okay,
But yeah,
but
I
yeah.
mean, so with having the moments of, you know, like feeling that you didn't want to be here anymore, do you feel like it was just thoughts, or were you really at the point that you think that you need to like go and like
I was really at the
'cause
point.
you didn't tell me like any of
No,
this at this point
I
in
did
time.
not. I didn't.
I don't even have to share this with anybody.
I didn't tell anybody. I was even in a relationship at that time. I didn't tell that person. And you know, it wasn't until y'all left, the mom and dad left, and I went back. I was driving home, and I said, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm over this, and I'm just a disappointment to everybody in my life, my family, everyone. So I had made the decision once mom and dad left and y'all left. I said, tonight I'm probably gonna go to that lake and I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm probably gonna go to that lake and just, I don't know. I don't want to be
Did
here
you go
no
to the
more.
lake?
I did. So,
Oh.
like when mom and dad left about 2 in the morning, I had got real drunk. I remember getting a bottle of tequila and I drove to Langston Lake. I remember it being a full moon. I had this little part where I always used to park my car right there, like where the little dead end thing is at. And I would always sit on the back of my car and just drink and smoke or whatever at that time. And something just came over. I was like, man, it's just no point. Like, all I've ever done is just hurt mom and dad. Like, and at that time, it was a series of events. Like, that was just that was like the climax of everything. Cause like before then, I had wrecked your car right before school.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that was my fault. I ran a red light and thought
Yeah.
I didn't even see the light. I had, got kicked out of school before, and and I wasn't really a good person at that time either. Like,
Yeah.
I had a lot of toxic behaviors. I was emotional. I would just do things off of emotion and then figure out like, well, I don't know how this happened. Well, because you weren't being logical, Santana.
Yeah.
So all that came to my thought that night, and I walked into that water. And it was really cold that night. And I remember just walking, and I had just kept walking. I was just staring at the moon that night. And I just kept walking a little bit further, and then it got kind of like up to my like hips. And then I took another step, and then that's when it kind of went under a little bit. And it kind of shocked me, like, oh, what are you doing? And I remember coming back up and looking up at the moon. And I thought about how that would hurt mom.
Yeah.
And I thought about like how that would really hurt my mama for me to be gone over this.
Yes.
And I swam back to the shore and got in the car and just started crying. And just like, I just don't know what I'm going to do. Like, and
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I was just so numb at that time. And I remember driving home and just crying the whole time. And I cried myself to sleep. And I woke up and mom had called me real early that morning. And I don't know if God told her, but she had said, you need to come home. And that's when I was like, maybe that's God saying something. That's when I got in the car. I just threw everything. Like, I still had that lease on that apartment and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got in the car and I drove home.
Yeah.
And that was that. Once I came home, that's when I saw y'all. And
Yeah. Well,
Man, I mean, honestly, I felt that because it's like at a moment God will put like that image of somebody you'll hurt by hurting yourself. Like when I was going through my things and I was going through the whole point of like being in a relationship and the girl didn't want to be with me, and I was like, what's to live for? I mean, this is my first love. And I don't know if y'all ever watched Sons of Anarchy, the last episode when he like literally drove himself into the 18-wheeler and that's how he died. I was really on the freeway and I was like, this is how it's gonna happen. I'm gone. But that moment, I swear to you, my nephew Dalen called me. And I was like, I was in tears at that moment. He called me and he was just like, oh, I just want to see what you're doing. And I was like, yo, that's why he's like my best friend. That's why no matter how mad me and you may be at him, I'm like, nah, that's still my dog, man. I don't know what it is, still my dog.
yeah.
But like when he called me, I was just like, yo, I can't leave him.
Yeah.
Then he could be like, my uncle killed himself over a woman.
Yeah.
So yeah, so when you said that, it was like, what would my mom feel?
yeah.
And that truly is like, that's God literally saying like, hold on,
Yeah.
I got more.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
That's all.
Literally.
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, thank both of you guys for, being here today. Cause it's just hard. Cause like, you just think about even just listening to all that and just how in that moment, and even just being so young at that age, like you feel like that incident that happened was such a big deal. Like it felt like it was such a big deal in that moment. I think that's where a lot of us fall short when realizing the small things that are happening in our life is really what's allowing us to create the story of like where we're going to be, like where God wants us to be and what truly matters. And if you focus on just the small failures that you have, like, yeah, I felt like it was big at that point in time that there was no way coming back. But looking back on it now,
It's like,
who really cares?
yeah, who cares?
It's like,
Man.
we would not be able to say that right now if you weren't to turn around in that lake.
Yes, and that's what I always think about. Like, your story would have ended.
Yeah.
With you being a failure.
Yes.
That's the last thing your parents would have remembered about you.
Yeah.
Was that you you failed school, you wrecked your car, you really wasn't a good person at that time.
Yeah.
You really couldn't tell me nothing. I thought I knew everything.
And you were just what, 20?
22, 23, 24, 23, 24 around
Yes.
that time. Like, and I just felt like I was an absolute failure and there was no way that I could come back. And it wasn't until I went home. And I don't know if you remember me being at home, but I was really weird when I came home still. Like, the mental health, I was really depressed. Like, I would have these little bouts where I would just break down and cry out of nowhere. And I remember, like, the last one, I broke down and cried in front of Dad. And I had, like, we were just sitting in the living room. And I think I just had, like, a flash of my life in front of them while we sitting there. And I don't know why, I just, like, collapsed out the seat and just broke down and cried in the middle of the living room. And I was like, I'm sorry, Mom and Dad. I'm sorry, Mom and Dad, for everything I've done. I'm sorry. And my dad was just looking at me. He was just so scared. I remember Dad looking like he was, like, scared. Like, do I need to go get you some help?
Yeah.
And that's when we went outside and talked. And that's what I'm saying. I still was a smart tail at that time.
Of course.
Because Dad was like, do I need to get you some help? And in the midst of my tears, I'm like, no, I already know what they're going to do. Because I was a nurse and I was in psych.
I don't like what they do now.
I already know what they're going to do.
Oh my God.
But at that moment when I said that, it came to me like, you know what to do. You know how to fix yourself.
Yes.
What are you doing still sitting here crying, acting a fool? It's time to go to work.
Yeah.
It's time to fix yourself.
Yes.
And it's crazy how, like, as soon as I broke down and cried and told Dad that, the next morning, like, I woke up and I was scrolling in my phone trying to look like, okay, I guess I'm going to go back to nursing school again.
Yeah.
And that was traumatic because I just did not think I was going to go through that crap again.
Yeah.
But I went through and all of a sudden I'm just scrolling on my phone and I'm looking at nursing programs and all of a sudden OU, LPN to BSN. In 9 months, you can have your RN. In 9 months?
9 months.
Which-
And like what? And then to top it off, that's the only program they have in the whole U.S. that allow you to do that.
Wow.
In Oklahoma. And then
I
on
didn't
top
know
of that, Oklahoma is the only state that will allow you to get an LPN degree after finishing 1 year of RN school.
Oh,
Wow.
my gosh.
So all of that put together, that's when I was like, oh, God has a plan for you, girl.
Yes,
We're
yeah.
going to go to OU LPN. I remember calling Mama that morning like, Mama, I got a plan. And Mom was like, okay, well, you got to just do it. You know, we just going to take our time and you going to do it. And you got to pass these tests. And
Yes.
that's when I made a plan like, hey, I got to start studying for my LPN. And shoot, by October, I passed my test and I
Yeah.
moved back to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And then it's time to get Santana's life back together.
Yes.
Gang.
Yeah, no, literally. And it's just like that's just such a like beautiful thing because you just even just like having that moment, that was your breakthrough moment that you had whenever you really like sat down there and cried and realized, you know, in front of your parents that no matter what, like they still love you and you're
Yes.
going to get through this. You have people that are supporting you and people that are around you, they're going to be there no matter what. And so I remember the day that you told me that you passed your LPN, that you were moving back. And like, I was excited at that point in time. Cause I was away in Galveston, going through my own things. And it was just like, I think that whenever you had that opportunity to really go back to Oklahoma and just like really be by yourself and get your life together and focus on your studies to even like graduating, like you got your nursing degree what year?
2020, last year, 2021.
2021.
Because, yeah, it took me, so you have to pass these hard tests at OU. Like, oh, my gosh. It's like testing out of the classes. So, like, it was like 4 tests. I had to take, like, each one of those twice.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was not a game, and you have to pay. It took me about 2 years to pass those tests because it was hard. And in the midst of that, I'm trying to work and stuff, too. And also during that time, you know, like, I guess I'm just an overachiever in my own life, and I have my own goals. So once I had like not got that RN and I got an LPN, I was like, oh no, I'm not gonna let that stop the money flow. I need to be making the salary that an RN makes, even though I'm an LPN. So I had worked 2 full-time jobs the first 2 years out there.
Yeah.
So like I was working 16-hour days. The only time I never had a day off, I would consider a shift off a day off. So like if I had just 1 8-hour shift that day, oh, that's a great day. That was a great day because I wanted to get my Jeep and I wanted to, you know, feel like I was accomplishing something for myself. And then
Yeah.
also like I did not call Mom and Dad and ask for any money. Like, I did kind of go into debt, which is kind of silly, but I just wanted to prove to myself, like, I had to make this up for myself.
Yeah.
Like, because if mom and dad didn't put me in this situation, I put myself in this situation. So
Right.
I had to learn, I had to be a grown woman. I had to grow up in Oklahoma.
So I was gonna ask, people always hear about the comeback story. They always hear about like, oh, you've been through a tragedy and then you made it. But because me and you, like, I'm not gonna say our story is nowhere near similar, but every key point they like the feeling the suicidal thoughts at a young age, then an adult age, then failing. I felt all those things, but in the midst of like getting the big comeback and getting the W, what would you do to tell yourself in those moments, like when there's small things, like maybe a tire was flat or maybe something broke and you had to come out some extra money to do that? When those like bad things were happening in the midst of the comeback, what were you telling yourself in those times?
I guess I was telling myself it's gonna be okay, Santana. Like,
Yeah.
we just come in, we're gonna take it a day at a time, and you're gonna be okay. Because I will say I didn't, but when I first moved back to Oklahoma, I have this big card, this big poster board I made, and I just listed everything that I wanted to accomplish in my life. Accomplishing my life. So that means like I wrote down like, I want to go places to visit, what I like, little goals, like
Right.
what my credit score was gonna be. I had small goals to help me get to this big goal.
Okay.
So, like I was working on the little things to help me build up to the big thing. So that's what really helped me grounded throughout all of that. Like, even with the little things, the bad things that were going on, that's what helped to keep me grounded. Because I remember like, hey, at least you reaching these little goals in between times. So that helped kept me going at that time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. And then like looking back on all that you've really been through, I guess what would you say to Santana at age 23 whenever actually no, let's dial it back. So what would you say to Santana at age 21 being in college, doing all these things, like feeling, kind of sounds like being invincible, like you, like nothing
Exactly.
can touch,
That's exactly what
nothing
it
can
was.
touch
I
you.
felt like I was invincible. Kind of like, I don't even really like parallel, but I'd be kind of thinking like kind of how maybe Sha'Carri Richardson felt when she was running and stuff. Like, she probably felt like, ain't nobody gonna do nothing to me. I can't get in no trouble.
Yeah.
And was still smoking and stuff and got in trouble.
Yeah.
That's how I felt in college. That was me.
Yes.
I thought I was invincible. Nothing could happen. So I would tell younger me, relax. You are not invincible.
You ain't top dog yet, big
Yeah,
dog.
you are not. This is just a small part of your life. This
Yeah.
is not the big picture. Like, passing grades in school, getting straight A's has nothing to do with what the real world is gonna slap you with. You haven't experienced anything yet.
Yeah.
So just relax. Don't worry about break up with that boyfriend you gonna meet in college. And
Say that.
And just stay grounded of who you are, Santana. Don't lose sight of who you are, because that's what happened to me. I lost sight of who I was and was trying to be somebody else.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I got back to Oklahoma and was by myself that I got back to who I really was. Because a lot of times, you get around, because I've been a loner my whole life and I'm comfortable being alone. When I got to college, I was trying to be around people. And that's not who I was. And so I'm over here feeding off all these other people. So I would tell
Yeah, a lot
younger
of
me to
different
just
energies.
remember being grounded in who you are and what you really coming to accomplish and all that kind of stuff, and leave all that other stuff alone. That's what I would tell younger me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. And then I too, because I just remember in college, I feel like I was like trying to like save you, like bring you back.
Yes,
Like,
you
let me
were.
bring her back to Jesus.
Oh, you was one of those people?
Bring her back, she was. That's Warriors for Christ right there. What?
Well, since
First
the
of
Bible
all,
does
heart to
say,
heart.
Heart to heart, yeah, heart to heart, my bad.
I was like the women's leader on campus. And
She's the woman's leader.
That's why it's always so funny, because we're like the total opposites.
Yes, people actually were raised in the same
Yes,
home.
everyone on campus is the same. Or you guys really have the same parents? Like, we say yes. I don't know how she was raised.
And I don't know where,
I don't know
whatever.
where she grew up, but we're really sisters.
I don't even know what to say.
But I mean, yeah, because we are like total opposites. But no, it was really like hard for me to just see you just doing whatever at that point in time.
And it was crazy for me to be doing whatever, and I was like in the back of my head, I'm not being a good role model, but she grown, she got to figure it out herself.
She gotta do this on her own.
It's like, I really was a role model.
She was. You always have been that, though. Like, you've always been the big sister.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, I mean, so whenever too, see, earlier you were saying when you were younger, you know, like you were the loner, and then like that's kind of how you feel comfortable being alone and stuff. I guess today, do you still feel like that like holds truth, or like what do you mean by that? Like that's who you are.
I still believe that holds true. I still like to be by myself primarily. And when I say loner, I mean like not trying to be around a whole bunch of people. Like, you know, I don't really have a whole bunch of friends. I have like 5 people that I really consider friend. And I'm comfortable with that. Like I will say, I think I saw a meme or something the other day. It's like, I am an introverted extrovert or something like that. Like I love to be to myself, but you know, if I get around people, oh yeah, I could be the life of the party. But I really prefer to be by myself.
Okay.
So that's kind of like what I would say. So, and that's why, like, you know, bodybuilding was great for me because it doesn't require other people.
Yeah. So, okay. So now you're a nurse. So you graduated your nursing degree, psych nurse over here.
Psych nurse.
And you started lifting weights. How did you get into bodybuilding?
Okay, so it started like, you know, even though, you know, I moved back to Oklahoma, I was still kind of depressed because, like I said, I was still kind of by myself. And then I was getting into that whole, you know, when you get grown and you start going to work and you just go to work, you eat, you go to sleep, you repeat. You go to work. And I wasn't hanging out with anybody. I wasn't doing anything. And I felt like, and I was still like sad. I'm just sitting in the room binge watching TV shows and stuff. And that's when also that kind of ties into like the psych thing. So I ended up getting a job in psych. And I was like, there's still something wrong with me. And that's when, like, you know, while my patients were going to group, I started going to group with them. So I would, like, sit outside the door and listen to the therapist, and they're talking about, like, how you need to make a plan and how you need to be intentional about your life, and you need to get rid of people who aren't speaking life into you, and, you know, you need to be physically active or whatever because that's going to help get those release those endorphins and help you to get up out that little that sad space that you're in.
The rut you feel.
Yes, so that's what happened. I listened to that and I'm like, okay. And I've always loved the gym. So I ended up getting with my homeboy. He was looking for like named Taylor. He was looking for a workout partner at that time. And then I started working out with him. And all of a sudden, like, I don't know, I started falling in love with these weights. But I was scared because, you know, they have that whole stigma about women being too buff and that's manly and all that stuff, but
Talking about the weaklings.
That's
how I feel.
Under 100 pounds.
You just that's all it is.
But so that's kind of like once I was going to those groups and hearing that, that's when I was like, okay, well, let me go to the gym at least. Let's at least throw a gym in the midst of the work, sleep, the little cycle thing. So that's what made me start going to the gym, like really psych, going to those groups and listening to that therapist. Those therapy groups is really what helped me to try to fix myself even further.
Yeah, and that's so true just about them speaking to become physically active, because I even know with myself just mentally that if I'm not consistently, you know, in the gym or working out, like I start to feel sad. Like you start to feel that. You start to feel as if you're not really not going anywhere, but as if you're not being as productive as you can be in life.
Yeah.
So kind of like time is just passing by.
And then, you know, for us, like we were athletes our entire life.
Yeah.
So to be an athlete all that time and now you're an adult and it's over.
Yeah.
It's just like your body kind of like, what are we doing? Like, and it's just like, I felt like a slouch at that time. Like, and then I still kind of had a little definition in my arms and stuff at that time, but I'm still like, I don't know. I'm just walking around. I just felt useless. Like, I didn't have a purpose. Like, I didn't really know who I was still. So that's what really just made me go into the gym. I feel like the gym helped build my identity even more. I found myself in the gym.
Okay. Yes. And so, did you have anything else? Sorry.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I could just tell them about the first time I met Santana.
What was it?
So, no, it was nothing bad. It's just the very first time I met her, I mean, she like pre-gamed me. She was just like saying, you know, my sister's coming in town. She's gonna be staying in my apartment this weekend. And I was like, all right, that's cool. I mean, we were like just started dating.
Yeah.
Well,
it was probably been like
probably like a year.
year
I already met Dad. So I was like, all right, cool. You know, big sister coming in. And the perception that she was saying that you have a strong presence, but in my mind, I was like, okay, she looked just a little more goofy than Megan. So in my mind, I'm getting ready to meet Big Sis. I'm like, oh, give a side hug. Oh, hey, sis, how's it going? It's nice to meet you. As soon as I saw, what's good, man? What's up? I was just like, all right.
It's a lot.
Cool. And then the crazy part was, as soon as I saw her talking smack to Megan, I was like, oh, we gonna get along. This my dog now.
Oh my God.
We was just tag teaming the whole car ride.
Yes.
Because the very best memory I have was Megan was like, I want to drive your car. Because you brought your Jeep down.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
like, I'm driving. I don't care. I was just like, all right.
Yeah.
I was in the front, she was in the back, just talking smack behind her back. Like, I wish you'd turn around and say something too. Turn around, she was just like, okay.
Oh, whatever.
But I will say that's when I realized you might be the one, Greg, because I was like, you was talking trash back. You wasn't just taking it. And I was like, okay, he got some cojones or whatever.
Oh
they
my
say.
God.
Because you gotta be able to. You can't just talk, man. She talked too much. She do too much.
My
Because
goodness.
people be looking at me like, that's a strong woman you got there. I'm like, I know. She know though.
I'm like, what does that
She know.
mean?
Well, because people see me as like the quiet, like they all.
Yes.
Like, I tell people all the time, I'm like, when we go like to restaurants, what do you want to eat? I don't know, baby, anything you want. That's literally just my
That's what I hate
presence.
to hear.
It's just my presence. So then they don't know the fact that when we get, I'm like, hey, stop. And she just be like, all right,
I know.
whatever.
It does. Yeah. It's not my fault. You see, we were just two women that were raised in a household
But
that we're taught we need to express ourselves and have strong personalities and be
Yes.
achievers. And so that's just.
It's like Dad put in our mind, like, no one's gonna take care of you. You got to be able to
Literally.
take care of yourself. And
That's what he
we were
instilled in us.
programmed that way.
That's not
And now we get with these men.
I'm like deprogramming
Yeah, you
myself.
gotta try to deprogram. Then he's like, when you get a man, he's like, you don't have to be that way. I'm be like, hey, you told me I gotta be strong.
I know. It's
No.
like, Megan, calm down. I'm like, what?
Oh, I know who knows that.
Programmed me to take care of myself.
I know who knows that very well. My dad. Remember?
What?
Remember we were moving something? And we were moving something.
Oh.
And Megan picked up, it was like a tote or something. My dad was like, oh no, sweetheart, you don't have to do it. She was like, I can pick this up. I can do it. And I looked at my dad, I was like, just let
Ever
her.
since that day, your dad's always just like, no, let her pick it up.
I know.
They're moving
My brother-in-law
anything.
tried to like get. He's like, oh, little sis, let me get that. He's like, no. Let her get it. She got it. I was like,
That's how we are.
man, I love her. I don't know why. I just like it. I don't know. It's weird.
They really are. Oh my goodness. But yeah, so to wrap things up, we want to hear about your journey to becoming a professional bodybuilder. So she will be joining us at our next episode, guys, where we'll talk about really what led her into being the strong
Flex up
woman
one time.
inside and out today, and what helped her break through the barriers of getting over that ideal that I don't want to lift weights because I don't want my arms to be big, that really like our world has today. And so let us know where they can find you on Instagram, TikTok, all your
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram at psychofit_Tana. So psycho as in PSYCHO
_.
psychofit.
Oh, just kidding.
Yes,
Chill out.
psychofit. FIT_ Tana TANA
Yes.
on Instagram, and do not have TikTok. Well, I have TikTok, but I'm barely on there. But hey,
Okay.
I can't even think of the name right now. But yeah, mostly Instagram, and then you can also add me on Snapchat too at TanaBoo101 on Snapchat, and then I have a business Facebook, Santana Francisco, on my business Facebook. You can find that my page, just like my page.
Awesome.
She one of those modest people. You can find her on Google as well. You can just.
Oh well, yeah, you can find me on
Google,
Google, baby.
and you
can
literally just
Google
go-
Santana Francisco plus FBB. You'll find out my picture.
I was about to say,
Thank you,
hold
Greg.
all the medals
All
and
her
everything.
Thank you, Greg. Yeah.
Hey.
Yes, we'll get into that at the next episode. But as always, you can find me on IG at Dr. Megan Harris.
And you can find me on IG at Greg K. Harris Jr.
And be sure you're following at Get It Together on Instagram,
Twitter.
YouTube, Twitter. We don't really tweet that much.
I keep the Twitter page alive.
Okay,
I
and
just be liking stuff
TikTok.
though. I just be liking stuff though. I don't be doing nothing.
But until next time, guys, be sure that you tune in and get it together.
Where's the buy?
Bye.
I was about to say where to buy it.
Sorry, I totally forgot.
Just messing up a lot today. Isn't it?